Okay, so nobody's getting the truth from the mainstream media, folks. It's well past time to open your eyes, your ears, and your mind. Do your own research because something isn't right here. And if you can't see that, you are not paying attention, folks.
It's the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order. A world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations.
So let's look at each one of these and see how we can get this down to zero. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to zero. Now that's back from high school algebra, but let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
The important message that we need Australians to get vaccinated as quickly as possible. In line with that, I do encourage all Australians to please go and book your vaccinations as soon as you can if you haven't already done so.
Emma, get away!
When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
Okay, we need to stand up against this tyranny, folks. Stop giving away your freedoms and liberties, because the more you give up, the more these people will take until you have absolutely nothing left. That's their agenda. All right, welcome to another week in this crazy, and hasn't it got crazy overseas, guys? LA, going off exactly what the deep state wants. Soros funded, no doubt. And yeah, wow, not what we want coming to our shores, guys, but exactly what the New World Order wants to bring to us. Big throw out to the guys who would have gone to Maggie's today, Frank and Charles. And guys, if you haven't listened, I listened to one of their podcasts today, Monday at Maggie's podcast, guys. If you haven't got onto them, you want to get on them. All right, they are, they're gas. All right, they're really good podcasts. So get into them, back them, share them, get it around. Welcome to winter. All right, at least we've got some moisture on the ground. I know we've had a little bit of rain in some drought areas, but now we've obviously got a bit of snow around, guys. Now, what a weekend. All right, we got whistleblowers coming out in government places everywhere. All right, this lady's hoping she doesn't die. She's going on current affair or 60 Minutes or something. We got a big scam, Transport New South Wales, $110 million scam, right? Money laundering. We've got another one that's absolutely massive. That's 200 million. All right. This is all like just unbelievable. Unbelievable. Belinda Repton, 429 views on Monday night at Maggie's advertising. That's unreal. I hope that converts into something. Yeah, that is gas, guys. Unreal. Okay, so then we've got over the weekend all the chatter about, Albo and Trump meeting up at the G7, and we've got the government sneakily putting out on their website that healthy infants 18 and under are not recommended to get the jab. So it's all happening, guys, and it's all happening our way. But remember, the more that we expose, the more that we get out there, all right, the harder that they are going to come at us. Now, some really good news. Channel 10 cancels the project, the woke friggin' project, gone. Brilliant. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. That Ali, whatever his friggin' name was. All right, another trucking firm, guys. Now, Don, what's it like? This is a big A big transport network, Don Watson Transport. You'll see him around everywhere, guys, on the roads. All right, gone. All right, closing down. So the government's, the New World Order and the government are both getting their way. Here's the other one, 4 charged money laundering millions. Police dismantle part of alleged elaborate crime. You know, like, it's just insane, you know. But what we're getting, guys, is we're getting it out there. Okay, so we are the difference. All right, we are the mainstream media now. All right, that's the way it goes. But yeah, we've now the other thing that we got to talk about is, and we should be kicking up a stink about this, guys. You know, put your thoughts on, like I asked you to do on Friday night after Jodie's show, or the show with Jodie and that on it about. Oh no, it wasn't Jodie. It was Thursday night. Tim, Carl, and Jackie. Right. So yeah, we got to work out what we're doing there. I've seen Jodie's gone out. He's put out a few lives. I've shared them around. I've watched a few bits of them. And it's getting organised, guys. But this Order of Australian bullshit, all right, like ScoMo, you know what I mean, all these other cretins getting these, it's just incredible, guys. So, yeah, we're going to be bucking up on that too. Come in whenever you're right, Caz. Let's get into it. Just absolute bullshit. It's crazy out there, isn't it? And then $80 million spent on a penthouse at the top of the Crown Casino. $80 million for a two-story penthouse. You believe it? They didn't get $80 million for it. That's what they wanted. Apparently, it went for a little bit cheaper. But man, I mean, you got $80 million to waste on a penthouse.
Yeah, no, look, it's just insane. Look, anyway, let's just get started on this. We've got Rocco, and here he is at the GGs today.
Rocco Vardy coming to you from Maggie's. The Governor General's here Monday. All the gang is here. And look what we have behind us, brothers and sisters. We have a massive event coming up soon here in front of the Governor General's. It's supposed to be a fundraiser. What I'm declaring now, the Sydney Declaration is all the homeless. We can fit all the homeless in here, guys. All the people getting pushed out of their rental homes who can't afford their mortgages. Thanks to that piece of dirt in that building there, who's by design pushing everyone into poverty. We are going to be asking the people who put this structure up to leave it there permanently, so we can really get the numbers up here at the Governor General's every Mondays. Anyway, I just thought I'd give you a quick update on what's happening. We've got the Forest of the Fallen as well, right? Rocco Vardy, sending tremendous love.
Go Rocco.
Love your work.
Go Rocco.
Love your work,
All right.
Rocco.
Now we're in the middle of a housing crisis and things are not looking good, like as far as the building industry goes as well, which Scotty's been doing a champion job reporting on.
For a week in the building industry in Australia, with more companies going down faster than the last snag at a Bunnings sausage sizzle. Let's take a look. Starting in South Australia, where extraordinary constructions took extraordinary to mean extraordinarily broke, 40 homeowners left with half-built homes and full-blown anxiety attacks. The director, though, Tony Xanthopoulos, didn't go quietly either. He decided the best way to respond to his clients' complaints was an unhinged email rant full of expletives. I understand being part of a company collapse must be pretty horrific and pretty stressful, but at least talk to the customers and at least empathise with their situation. Let's have a look at the rest of them. Metricon swooping in like a corporate SES crew to finish the job. Oh, fuck me, Metricon. Hope they bought gloves. They're going to need them. Next stop, though, Queensland. MC Coastal Constructions went into liquidation. 436K in debt while the directors have vanished like a tradie at 3:01 p.m. on a Friday arvo. Matthew Curry hasn't returned a single call to his liquidator, which is impressive considering how many missed calls he probably has from subcontractors and angry customers at this stage. He's now banned from holding a license until 2027 and might be a good time to pick up a new trade, maybe ghost riding. Just when you thought things couldn't get any more cooked, though, Ferretti International, Ottaway, part of Gupta's still empire, has gone under. That's another 150 jobs gone, just like that. Steel fabrication is pretty hard to fake, but collapsing the economy, now that's a well-oiled machine. Nationally, this last 12 months, we've seen over 2,600 construction companies gone bust. That's a 23% increase on the year before. If you're in Victoria, though, brace yourself. You've seen a 74% increase in construction company collapses houses this year compared to last year. It's only going to get worse before it gets better. Building approvals for unit and apartment complexes were down 20% last month, and for standalone dwellings they were down 7%. The news just keeps getting worse and worse. Now we're going to build 1.2 million homes in 5 years.
Just dreaming.
That's you can laugh about how Scotty put that across, but that's serious shit, man. That is 74%. Wow.
Look, all of the indicators show that we're in decline. You've got and here's
the only
thing
thing we're
as
not
well,
in decline for, Caz, is migration. That's the only thing that's not in decline.
That's it, immigration. Look, the federal government's proposed super tax on unrealised capital gains threatens the succession planning of thousands of farmers set to retire in the next decade. So if anyone knows how succession farming works, what happens is usually the boys work the farm and they don't draw an income. And then what happens is that there is an agreement made from the parents. They'll say, okay, well, you can buy us out. You've got like $200,000 worth of land here, and say it's the land's worth $500,000, and then they take a loan for the $300,000. Well, this is what's going to happen here. It's basically going to get hit, and we need family farms desperately because we're also facing a food crisis.
We need to stop the chemtrailing because even the family farms are being poisoned. We got big problems, guys. Big problems.
We got big problems, but we got big solutions. We'll figure it out. But yeah, we just need to stop this. And like the other thing is too, like this is Melbourne. So now this is by Diana. So Melbourne, Australia. If you had a really good sleep last night, and I was in Melbourne on the weekend, and it was absolutely freezing, and there were homeless people like in shops, like just basically at the front of shops in the CBD. It was just unbelievable. But at least people are becoming aware of it now. And these next two stories show that.
Gold Coast's homeless community is tonight facing more uncertainty than ever. Mayor Tom Tate pitching a controversial plan to send volunteers on a bus across the border.
Tucked away in Kerry Park, a makeshift community, but tensions escalating among our city's most vulnerable. The mayor offering up a controversial plan, suggesting they not only move out of Southport, but out of the state.
Byron is different to the Gold Coast. People go, oh, you can't use council money for that. I'll pass the hat around and get a bus for them.
Tom Tate says it's been done before.
Areas have done that in Australia.
Oh no, not in Australia. I'm talking about around the world.
He's not addressing the issue. He's just shifting it from one place to another.
Last week, Gold Coast City Council issued move-on notices to shut the camps down. They say it's up to police and state government to enforce them.
Police get called to things that involve the council, but it's only to act in order to keep the peace. We don't enforce things like that.
Our job is to make sure that we get outreach teams there to engage with as many people as we possibly can.
When we put that to the mayor...
If the police are not going to move them, we're not going to jump in to do that.
The mayor also offering up...
Now, this girl, the project actually did a story, and she's done a rant on it, and it's actually really good. There's a couple of swear words, guys, so please...
Before you hit it, Caz, that's interesting about the police are not here. I wonder if that's the same in New South Wales, and they don't have the power to actually enforce the people to move on, because we got Cully Bay coming up on Friday, and that's an interesting point there.
Yeah, it is. Well, this girl has a rant, so be pre-warned. There's some swear words in here.
So they're just basically camping out in abandoned homes with no power.
The fucking audacity. Can I just say, the fucking audacity to sit there and laugh at that as though people aren't living in their fucking cars, as though people aren't living in tents with no fucking power, as though people aren't living in homes that they've chosen not to connect to the power because they've lived that way for fucking generations and they can do it perfectly fine. The fucking, the white woman privilege dripping off of this person, and this is what we have for progressive media in this fucking country. I am so fucking disgusted at this attitude. So they're just camping in abandoned homes. No, are you fucking kidding? People are camping out in the fucking bush to avoid getting their shit destroyed by the cops telling them to move on when they try and find somewhere where there might be access to power because it's too obvious. It's too out in the open. We've got families. I have 130 families locally that we're trying to help at the moment who are camping in fucking tents. Are you kidding me with this smug? Oh, I want to just... You should be fucking ashamed. The project, this is what you should be fucking apologising for, not bawdy jokes that like that border on the obscene. This fucking pretentious shit.
Wow, that was a rant. I bet she got some hits.
Well, the crazy part about it is that they're actually identifying the progressive media as being like the problem, which they are. You know, like we have different solutions to them, but the thing is that like they're actually starting to see that media for what it really is. And this is just a collection of some fines.
You could be fined $165 for flying a kite if it annoys someone. In Australia, you could be fined $384 if you jaywalk in Victoria. In Australia, you could be fined $448 if you drive with your pet on your lap in New South Wales. In Australia, you could be fined up to $1,100 if you smoke in the car with a child under the age of 16. In Australia, you could be fined up to $19,000 for vacuuming late at night. So just go to sleep.
Like the fines are they're so insane. And this guy here's my new favorite. Two Worlds Collides his handle, but he's done this about South Australia.
Despite an increasing number of South Australians are struggling to make ends meet.
With more being spent on keeping warm, charities are under growing pressure to help put food on the table.
South Australians are choosing between heating and eating. As winter hits, families are lining up for free food just to survive the cold. And let me tell you why. South Australia has the highest energy prices in the country, averaging 40.4% per kilowatt. And we have the highest percentage of renewable energy in Australia, over 75%, all while shutting down affordable, reliable energy sources. In 2016, SA shut down its last coal-fired powered station in Port Augusta. Now they're closing down the Torrens Island B, our biggest gas-fired plant, due to be closed down in 2026. That's our real affordable baseload power completely gone. And what's replaced it? Unreliable, unsustainable wind and solar with no power backup. So when there's no sun and no wind, which is the Adelaide winter, there's no power and you can't store a blackout in a battery. And those so-called green batteries, built from cobalt and lithium, often strip mined in Africa by children in slavery, more ethically and environmentally destructive than coal and gas will ever be. This is what happens when ideology replaces common sense. When energy is scarce but demand stays high, prices explode. It's like watching 10 families fight over one loaf of bread. Of course it's going to cost a fortune. That's what happens with power. Meanwhile, our government keeps exporting coal and gas at record levels. So China and India can power up whilst we power down. And while South Australians are freezing and struggling to put food on the table, Peter Malinauskas keeps us distracted with the old Roman tactic, bread and circuses. He gets the woke, out of touch Katy Perry to come to Adelaide. Yep, the same Katy Perry who launched into space to save the climate. He got us gather round and he organised Live Golf. Sure, they're good for tourism, but we're getting distracted and we're not talking about the real issues. This isn't just poor planning, it's destructive and it's not working. We need to start letting Australia use our own natural resources. Instead, Peter Malinauskas, he's just a puppet for Albo and Bowen and their unachievable net zero policy, a plan that's punishing everyday South Australians whilst doing nothing to reduce global emissions. In 2023, global carbon emissions hit a record high of 37.4 billion tonnes. And Australia is fueling that, exporting our natural resources. So let me get this straight. We provide the very thing to other countries our government tells us is destroying the planet. That doesn't make any sense. The hypocrisy is off the charts. We're told to sacrifice, pay more and shiver in silence, all for a climate lie that is enriching other nations and bankrupting our own. This isn't a cost of living crisis. It is a cost of lies crisis. And we're starting to foot the bill. What's your thoughts?
Well, I just want to bring this comment in here, Caz, and that guy's exactly right. But yeah, don't forget, guys, what about poor Dazzle? Couldn't get a lung transport because she wasn't vaccinated. Now they're saying it wasn't necessary.
They are
blood on
indeed.
their hands, guys, in so many different areas. Yeah, well picked up, Jeff. I obviously thought of it. Yeah, like how are these guys are just absolutely like, and they just put that out. Didn't tell anyone, just snuck it onto their website.
Yeah, we're going to get to that actually in a minute, but just to finish up on the climate stuff, just check this out. More scientists now doubt climate alarmism claims. So there's a number of people that are actually backflipping on the whole climate thing, which is good as well. So the world is slowly waking up. But as you said, Dave, the backflipping on the vaccines, have a look at this.
The federal government has just backflipped on COVID vaccines for children. After years of telling parents to vaccinate their kids, after the press conferences, the campaigns and the pressure, the federal government now says, don't vaccinate kids for COVID. The Australian Immunisation Handbook now says, and I quote, COVID-19 vaccine is not recommended for healthy infants, children or adolescents. Benefits of vaccination are not considered to outweigh the potential harms. Geez, thanks. It's a bit late now. Yeah. This is the mother of all backflips. Here's what they told us before. In 2021, the then Health Minister Greg Hunt said, we urge all parents to give their children the opportunity to be vaccinated and vaccinated as early as possible. This is an important step in protecting Australia's children. In 2022, the then Chief Medical Officer, Professor Paul Kelly, stated, and I quote, it's very important that children down to the age of 5 are vaccinated. Now they're saying, don't do it. There was also the then Prime Minister Scott Morrison responding to a former Liberal MP, George Christensen, who said kids shouldn't get the vaccination. Scott Morrison replied with this, and I quote, I strongly disagree with the message sent out by Mr. Christensen regarding children's vaccinations. I urge parents to disregard his dangerous messages in relation to vaccines. Well, now, whatever message he was sharing back then, that's what they're saying now in Canberra. COVID-19 vaccine is not recommended for healthy infants, children or adolescents. Benefits of vaccination are not considered to outweigh the potential harms. But the tone from the highest levels of government was, vaccinate your kids. They were pressuring parents to vaccinate their children against COVID. And now they've reversed course. And they've done it quietly. No press conference, no apology, just an update on the government website. And I can only imagine how our friend Monica Iskander must be feeling. The Sydney schoolgirl was told she would not be allowed to sit her final exams if she wasn't vaccinated. And she had a severe reaction to the first jab.
My mum called the ambulance, and as we were waiting for the ambulance to arrive, I got a severe, you know what, Ben, it wasn't even a stitch, it was like a cramp in the chest. And you can't breathe, you can't sit, you can't lie down. It's horrible. Like, you actually feel like you're having a heart attack.
Monica was one of our work experience kids back in the day. These days she works in the media at Channel 7. A specialist confirmed that she had the heart condition pericarditis, which was linked to the vaccine. A cardiologist wrote on Monica's file, Monica has been advised not to take the second dose of the vaccine. She became so sick, she could not sit the high school certificate. Other kids, of course, had side effects that were much more severe than Monica's. Parents were told they were protecting their kids, and now the people in charge just wipe their hands of it and say, we don't recommend you give your kids the COVID vaccine. I think the Australian people deserve an apology. Parents were under so much pressure to get their kids vaccinated, even when they didn't want to. And yet the government doesn't have the guts to admit we got it wrong.
Right, Caz, hang on. I need some airtime here, my dear sister. Righto, you knobhead, Ben. 2 years ago, mate, you tried to put me in jail for giving you this same fucking information. Where's my apology? Where's the apology to the people on this channel that spent their day trying to get recourse on friggin' Cooker Watch, Mr. Ben Fordham? You want to talk about apologies, Ben Fordham? Where's your apology? You knobhead, mate. That's it. My personal opinion, absolute knobhead. 2 years ago, I tried to tell you, and you tried to put me in jail. Now you're out there spruiking that there's COVID. What fucking COVID? There was no COVID. Learn what's going on, Ben. You're fucking there for your ratings, mate. That's all you're there for. Fuck me, sorry.
That's all right. I should have done a warning. Look, the vaccine, though, the damage that's being done with the vaccines, it's a lot more than what we've actually been told as well. This guy talks about the pineal gland having been destroyed as well. This is what they believe is attributing to a lot of personality changes with some people who have received the vax.
Also a comment to what Tina said about the change in personality, depression, and all these things. This is very real, and we have identified the reasons from the theory, and some doctors in Italy some pathologists have confirmed that. The spike protein, unfortunately, attacks and destroys also the endocrine system. So the glands producing hormones, and hormones are what make our emotions and feelings and all those things. And so an Italian pathologist near Venice, he went on a newspaper telling that all the brains he had investigated, he found the pineal gland completely destroyed on all the people who were vaccinated. Okay, so the spike protein is also very dangerous for the endocrine system. That's why people have these changes in personality and yeah.
Yeah, Ben, go and get your pineal gland fixed, Ben. Anyway.
Well, Renegade Rosie. Yeah, I know, but Renegade Rosie was out all the weekend again, and she always does great interviews.
I've met Jenny here, who's got a vaccine-damaged grandson who's now 15. Jenny, what age was your grandson injured at?
I think my daughter noticed things going a little bit wrong when he was about 2.
Was that after an 18-month series of vaccinations?
Yes, yeah.
This is something I hear a lot.
Yeah.
It seems to be the build-up of aluminium, suddenly it all becomes too much in their bodies. You won't be happy to hear the latest recommendation, because now they're suggesting that the 3-year-old vaccinations should be combined with the 18-month-old. So our babies will get something like 12 doses of disease in one hit. I understand your grandson has done very well with this. When was he diagnosed as being on the spectrum?
Oh, look, I'm very bad with dates and what have you, but my daughter did all this naturally, all the detoxing and what have you, before she was sort of forced to go and get it done officially, because she obviously didn't want him to go on more medication that they were suggesting to do. So he was school age. Yeah.
Well, it's very curious the way the autism industry, they have the nerve to call it, has become such a cash cow for Big Pharma.
Exactly.
Jenny, I'm so glad to hear you're.
Look, we'll leave it there. So, yeah, just basically, it's just, we've just got so much cleaning up to do.
And if you didn't see it, guys, 8 cops turned up down at Wollongong. I wasn't over there. I'd been there, but I was back. And, Craig handled him really well. He's a little legend, Craig. But, 8 cops come down, and thank you to Wollongong Art. What is it? Wollongong Club, whoever you are, they turn up there once a month selling your paintings, and that's more important than educating people on the atrocity that's been pulled on them. I understand that, but to ring the police and have them come down, hey guys, that's our fourth meeting, I think, with you people down there, 4th or 5th, and you just couldn't help it. You could not help yourself. You had to ring the cops. Well, guess what?
We stayed.
Cops were pretty good with us. We stayed. No one moved. And, they said if we had any trouble, to get back to them. So, Wollongong Art, I wish you all the best in selling your art. I think it's a great thing. But listen, there's a community out there that needs to be educated, and you shouldn't be hindering people doing it. There's Guru's message to you.
All right, we've got a fair bit on now. Jodie's got the dates up and I'll pop that into the Facebook channel as well, with the convoy that he's planning, and I'll bring in the flyers now.
Yep.
And the Mondays at Maggie's crew is calling for tools down. It's time to stand together. A corrupt and tyrannical government is crushing industries, stripping freedoms and silencing voices. This affects every worker and every business. New South Wales under a corrupt government. Enough is enough. We won't stay silent and we demand action. So join us every Monday at the Governor's House in Sydney at 11 a.m. And on Mondays, don't forget Mondays at Maggie's, the Frank and Charles podcast. They will be hitting the streets this week. Mondays at Maggie's. And in Victoria, we have the following events. In Melbourne, gather at the Governor's every Saturday to end the tyranny. 10 a.m. every Saturday at the Governor Gates. And the FUCCP page is up and running. Freedom Unites Cairns to Canberra Parade. The first leg is on Friday to Sunday, Townsville to Toowoomba, 27th to the 29th of June. The second leg will be Friday to Sunday, the 4th to the 6th of July, from Toowoomba to Canberra. And there is an urgent call to action. Dr. Beverly Peers is challenging the validity of state acts and the corporation policies forcing vaccination to be able to work. Her matter affects all Australians, and if successful, the states have lost their strongest control tactic over the people. Please support her in this fight for all Australians. And join the Justice of the People in Melbourne every Sunday at 4:30 p.m. for a remembrance at the Shrine of Remembrance, lest we forget. A daily prayer space is held on X at 3 p.m. So whatever you're facing, come along and we can lift you up in prayer. Every day, 3 p.m. on X. Melissa 146233923.
Matilda TV's eyes, don't forget. All right, you're going to need it when we go down on Facebook, so I'll be getting acclimatised to it. Yeah, Forest of Fawn, Cops go. Yeah, the cops are, look, you know, they got a lot to answer for, guys. And, you know, in places like Victoria, so obviously no amnesty. Some of them here in New South Wales, I'd have the same, you know, I wasn't treated very nice when Ben Fordham tried to get me arrested, you know, for harassing him, or not really harassing him, but, you know, letting him know what we all thought. And, yeah, but, yeah, you know, look, some of them, they're waking up, guys, because they got sick family members too. Okay. They've actually had this thing, they're feeling this, you know, and they're seeing what we're out there doing. This is the great thing of these Forest of the Fallens guys. And what, you know, like Wade with Billboard Battalion and all these different things, the Western Australia crew, the governors, the Canberra people, like the Governor Generals, you know, Frank and that here, we got people in Brisbane. You know, we just got to do it. But guys, if you listen to that podcast, yeah, it's an SOS, guys. All right, our country is being ripped from us very, very quickly. All right, and we need to react, and we need to react quick. All right, and we need to get shit done.
That's it. Look, there's been a lot of talk about what's going on in LA. So here's some footage of it. And of course, you got this one where the Aussie reporter was shot.
After hours of standing off, this situation has now rapidly deteriorated. The LAPD moving in on horseback, firing rubber bullets at protesters, moving them on through the heart of LA.
You just shut the fuck up. You okay?
No, she's absolutely outraged, but let's just have a flashback, shall we? Look at this. Where the hell was the media when we're being shot, when our people were being shot in Melbourne?
Yeah, they were calling us terrorists, Nazi lovers, you know, conspiracy theorists, whatever else they wanted to label us with. That's what they were doing.
And we've been proven correct again and again.
Yeah.
So, you know, like, but anyway, no, but it's very different when they shoot you, isn't it, darling? Very
Yeah,
different.
glad it wasn't an independent journalist. I'm glad it was a mainstream that got hit. Yep, beautiful.
That's it. Look at this. I've seen a lot of these young people, and they're talking about how terrible things are for them, for their future. So let's just play a couple of these.
Home in Australia last night with my friend who's a qualified electrician, and he's not everything by the books, right? He's got like 50k in the bank, makes like 100k a year, no debt, been working since he was 16. He's like 23 years old. Like, you know, he's got everything lined up. And he went to the bank to get approved for a loan, and they approved him for $450,000. He doesn't know what to do. He wants to like give up. He's talking to me. He's like, dude, I'm so tired. I just want to like, I'm so done with this. Like, this is what I've been working for. All right. He can't even buy a house where he lives. He'll have to move like 3 hours away to some bumfuck town to buy something like this, right? This is the kind of thing that he's like been approved for, which is meant to be like what his entire life's work, basically. Like, he'll have to keep working to pay that off. And there's no guarantee he'll even get this. Like, you know, there could be competition for this. It's so broken. I don't know where we're heading, but this country is not looking good.
And it's good because what is looking good, though, is that these people are realising, these young people are realising, and here's another one, is young woman.
Is anyone else in Australia kind of like, what's the point? If you're maybe like in your 20s, your 30s, and you're not being given things by your parents, and you've gone to uni, finished school, gone to uni, got a degree, which was meant to get you a good job, and that job was meant to pay for a house and maybe a holiday once a year, and maybe you'd have some kids, and that's like not happening now, and you're kind of just like, what's the actual point of anything? Like, I'm 28 and I kind of thought by now, like, I might have like a 3-bedroom house, maybe like thinking about kids, maybe successful in my career. The screaming you can hear behind me is my landlord's fucking grandkids, because my landlords live right behind me and I live in a tiny fuck-ass studio. And no, I don't live in Melbourne or Sydney. I moved regional to try and save money, and there's no jobs out here. Anyway, it's kind of just made me reassess my whole life. Like, what am I doing? Should I just go traveling? Is the world going to blow up in like 10 years and none of it matters anyway? Like, what's the general attitude? Because I'm a pretty like A-type person.
And it's really sad because, like, when you've removed all hope from people, it's just, you know, like they don't have no hope of getting ahead.
Oh, there is no hope. You
No,
know,
that's
the problem
right.
is that we've got to understand that on the current trajectory, there is no hope. What we have to do is change the trajectory. All right, then there's hope. But yeah, and unless we change it, I'm afraid. Yeah.
Well, this is the mental state of the world, and where is the Global Mind Project? Where is it? I did have it up here. And anyway, but the mental state in Australia basically is just completely collapsing realistically. It just was like people are really unhappy with how things are. So, you know, the mental health of the world is just especially in Australia, is just bad. Yeah, especially for young people.
Oh, look, it's hard for everyone. It doesn't matter whether you're young, you know, middle-aged or old. You know what I mean? They're coming at every aspect of your life now. You know, the old people are in confusion. You know, they're all going into digital IDs because they're getting pushed into it. They don't know how to get out of it. You know, you want anything off the government, they're going to force you into a digital ID. You know, yeah, it's time to make a change, guys. All right, there's always hope. Exactly right, Janine. There is always hope. It doesn't look. But as I always say, you know, we weren't put here to win, neither, guys. We're put here to endure and overcome. All right, that's what we're put here for. And we're doing a damn good job at it, because they tried to kill us all. How hard, guys. They have really brought it on. Right? They have tried to poison you in every aspect of your life. And guess what? We're still here. We're still fighting. We might be dealing with a couple of things, some of us, you know what I mean? But guess what? We're fucking here and we're fighting. That's the way it is.
This guy has put really succinctly the explanation for what's really going on with our courts, which Jackie has addressed the other day.
Every single court is based on all this fraud, or are there actually secret courtrooms that aren't?
We don't have one court in this country, and that includes Supreme and High Court. Not one is under the Crown of England. And the fact they're not under the Crown of England means they are quorum non judice. They're administrative arbitrator. They're not courts. They're not judges. They're just titles they gave themselves to fraudulently make us believe that they are legit. They're not. I heard 2 judges when I was in court where his authority to sit at the bench was challenged. And both of them, like a script, because they all have conferences, right? They all share experiences, and then they work out how to work around that shit, right? Because you and I and people like us, we're giving them hell in the courts. Well, they both said, one was female, one was male, and they said, I can assure you I was properly appointed on the bench by the state government. Well, if you read the Constitution, he's committed fraud. He's perverting the course of justice. He's personating a Commonwealth officer, because there has to be a separation of power with the courts. The courts are higher authority than our parliament or our government, but they're employed by the government. The prosecutor's employed by the government. The witnesses are employed by the government. The sheriffs are employed by the... Hang on. Am I alone here or what? That's exactly what we are. We're a bloody alone. The court record's the only thing that's going to save your butt. It doesn't matter what they think and say. They're going to throw all those threats and enforcements. But if you don't get it on the record, there is no record. You're a slave.
Well, we know we're all slaves.
We are indeed. Now, of course, the big blow-up last week was between Trumpy and Elon. And if you haven't figured it out, it's pretty obviously staged. And then Elon's come out and he said, "Oh, look, Trump's in the files, Epstein files." And right on cue, it worked beautifully, because now the left are demanding the release of the Epstein files. That's just one of them, but there are several more.
That's how dumb they are. That's how dumb they are.
They fall for it every time, and so it's just basically crazy. And the other thing was too, as well, with the Republic. Let me just have a look. No, that's all right. Yeah, that's all right. I won't do that one. So anyway, that's basically what we have for tonight, Dave. So we're going to be taken out by Jag Talks, and it's Piss Off Albo. So,
well, Albo's going over chatting with the G7 with Trump. I don't know how that's going to really go. I don't even know if he's going to get much of a meeting. But anyway, he reckons he's going over there calling the shots. He's such a little twerp, isn't he? Listen, tomorrow night, guys, we've got Paul on from the WASP Files. Okay, so we're going to go into Port Arthur, and so get ready for maybe Facebook to shut us down. Get ready to I'd log into Project Matilda tomorrow, or Matilda TV tomorrow night, guys, if I was you, if I was smart, because I wouldn't be surprised if we get taken down. So Paul's coming on. We're going to open up the WASP Files, Port Arthur massacre. The big false flag, CIA, Mossad induced, to remove the guns from the Australian people. So thanks for the weekend, guys. Thanks for everything you've done. You're absolutely brilliant. And I will be ringing Chris Smith in the morning. I think he's back on. I went to ring him this morning, but there was some other Barry guy on all day. See if we can't get a bit more word out on 2SM Radio, guys, tomorrow morning. Okay, thanks. Until then, we'll talk to you soon, guys. Bye.
And taking our rights away. You think it's fine to ban our youth? You'll decide what is or isn't the truth. Piss off Alba, Australia don't want you. Piss off Alba, make sure through. The policies, they are all shit. So piss off Alba, we're done with it. You make out like you're heaven sent. You're buying mansions, mate. We can't afford rent. The economy's shit, and you're the blame. shit. Aussies have had enough. Most of us just wish you'd piss off. A misinformation bill, you've gone too far. Who the fuck do you think you are? Piss off Alba, Australia don't want you. Piss off Alba, mate, you're through. Your policies, they are all shit. So piss off Alba, we're done with it. So pack your bags and hit the bricks. Piss right off, you little shit. Aussies want true leadership. Piss off Alba, you fuck with. Piss off Alba, Australia don't want you. Piss off Alba, mate, you're through. Your policies, they are all shit. So piss off Alba, we're done with it. So pack your bags and hit the bricks. Piss right off, you little shit. Aussies want true leadership. Piss off Alba, you fuck with.